same time,
Mm-hmm.
and you're archiving.
Mm-hmm. And you can
Wow.
upload
So
too,
then,
and you can monetize, there as well.
so why use fucking clown at all? Why are people still using clown hack off?
It's for creation, because where else can all of a sudden you turn on your phone and call up 30 people and have them all sit there and have a conversation? So it's like it's for creators. And I talked to Joe, the operator, one of the employees of this app yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was fucking. He didn't say anything, but he did say something interesting. I was like, "What are your observations after many years of listening into rooms?" He said, "I can't believe people just
How
keep."
stupid people are.
Yeah, he's like, "I can't believe people just keep talking to each other's ears." And then I said, "Okay, well then I have a more complicated question for you. What is the difference between implicit non-duality and explicit duality?" And he's like, "I'm not that smart." And then he said, "I guess it's kind of like the chicken and the egg." And I was like, "Yeah, exactly." And then at the end of the conversation, we made a full loop, and it came back to the concept of duality versus non-duality, or chicken and egg. And I was like, "Wow."
What was the context that you were talking to this person in?
He came into a Jewish room, and then I started telling him, I was like, I was like, "What's up with you?" I was like, "You and your co-founder, you're like LGBTQ Adderalls. Your town hall meetings are hypnosis rooms." I said, "Where are the fucking ads?" And then I said, "Go check out this Reason article about real-time bidding exchanges and how the government is buying data through real-time bidding exchanges, and you guys are technically only afloat because the government is buying data from you." And he didn't dispute any of that. And then I said, "It doesn't really matter to me." I was like, "This is a great app. You guys have created something special. God bless you." I was like, "If there was a Google ad here right now, I would click it for you, Joe." And he's like, "Thank you."
He said thank you in the chat.
In the chat, or he did actually communicate with me and other people in the room briefly. Then he left.
He spoke with his voice.
Yeah, yeah, I have it on
Oh,
recording.
interesting.
Yeah.
So they're floating around here.
Yeah,
They're clowns. They're clowns like the rest of us.
yeah, but he might be smart because he knew the chicken and the egg thing. So he's not
Right.
he's not dumb.
Yo, finally. Yo, John, what's up?
Cuckoo. Oh, this is my man. You blocked me on my Instagram. Apparently, you couldn't stand
You used
screenshots.
some sort of weird folder for some, I don't know, what was it?
I used you for a folder as if it's putting any. I'm just annoying you, Cuckoo. I was intentionally annoying you to prove to you
Yeah, I
that
knew
you're.
you were going to say that or the other thing, so it's either or, but it's fine. It's okay, bro. I was going to say I can make you a special account just for you, where you can put all that stuff into, okay?
No, dude, it's just to show you like how annoying I can be.
No, bro. Either or. What was it?
So Zach, Cuckoo knows somebody. He knows a guy that works at Netflix who's like a successful actor.
Not just one guy.
Oh, not just one guy. But anyways, Cuckoo wants to collab, and he wants to get a script created.
You know what's funny about this? That it could have already been done, and we could already be rich and famous in those 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because I proved that you're not.
You used me as your weird folder, and I knew you were gonna say that.
Well, I proved that you're not worthy of. You're not worthy to even work with.
I knew you were gonna do this. I knew it, John.
How'd you know?
Because it's either or, man.
It's either or.
It's fine, bro. Anyway, so we could have already been rich and famous, but
I already am rich and famous. It's you who's working on it. That's a you problem, buddy.
You are not rich and famous.
I am rich and I am famous.
People would know you.
Oh, people do know me on this app. They fear me. They love me.
And then if a crowd forms, trust me, then you're famous. But you're not famous, okay? Nobody knows.
All right, Cuckoo, we're having a business meeting here. We're talking business. We're talking business.
This is your podcast. This is your little podcast you always make.
We're talking
business
here.
It's not a podcast. It's something new. I mean, it's a live streaming clubhouse room.
Right.
That's what it is. I mean, a podcast.
I like it.
I think that a podcast has to have some sort of time limit. And I think that there has to be some sort of topic. I mean, maybe interviewing people. What I really want to do, Edmund, is I'm just going to keep calling you Edmund, if that's okay with you. But I'll call you John sometimes. But what I want to do is I don't even want to do interviews.
Yep.
I want to just talk about different shit. I want to just have it be me.
Yeah, well, get a
But
Rumble
can't-
account and just do. You should have a Rumble
You're doing
account.
that already.
I know, but it
already.
can't. Well,
That's
no,
what you're
but
doing right now. That's it.
I would like
You're in it.
to have the ability to post it afterwards and have people listen to it. So I
Mhm.
want to create something that has lasting value that people can re-listen to.
Good luck. Nobody listens to shit. It's like the live stuff is the best stuff because it's the most real time stuff. Anyways, talking about it all day long won't fucking get you the dinner. All you're doing is reading to me the menu. So send me your link so I can like it, share it, and subscribe.
I love how you both are faking life right now and pretending to be super authentic. I mean, you've planned this, obviously.
I'm not faking.
Yeah, it's the thing. We're doing it right now. So it's happening in real life.
Yeah, there's only the now, Zach, and that's the whole thing about the Tao.
It's beautiful. Like, I was thinking yesterday, John, or whatever the other name is, or if those are even real names.
Yeah, my name is John.
Yeah, it's
The names that can be named are not the
When people start laughing, that's when you know you've heard the Tao.
I bet that gets them wet each time when you say that.
Oh man, if they're fat, it always gets them wet.
How did it go with the fatty the other day?
Yeah, I brought her home and I de-lesbianated her.
De-lesbianated.
It's like Victoria's Secret's.
After we were finished, I took her in the shower and I was like, "Do you want me to shave your armpits?" And she had the biggest bushes under her pits, and she's like, "I'm actually really impressed that like you're not angry or upset over my hairy armpits." I was like, "Sweetheart, this isn't my first time at the hairy armpit rodeo. You're not special."
Was she fat?
Oh yeah.
Doesn't that take away from it?
She had like a nut. It was too much fat, but I was still working with it because like prior to that I had fucked another fatty, so like I got on the fat train and I was like, well, we'll just keep the train ride going for a little bit, then I'll get off. But she's a doctor.
I mean, I've done that.
She's a doctor, so like I had some, there's some sexual social engineering, like the truth is like, I don't. Oh, Daniel Nero's here. Hi, Daniel. So, Daniel, we're filming a podcast right now, FYI. It's on Rumble under Republican Chicago. I don't need to talk about my sexual encounter with the fatties.
So cool. I love it, John.
John, what do you think about the name for the show, The Fallen Log?
It sounds good to me, but the log is a metaphor for the man, or a pole is actually a great metaphor for a man or a person.
Does it sound too much like a dropping turd?
Yeah, what about just the log?
Sounds like you're taking the Cosby Kids to the beach, which I'll probably have to do shortly.
Right.
Hi, Daniel. So, Daniel, tell us your worldview, because that's what Darth Dawkins asked me on stage. I told him my worldview, and then I think he immediately had like a shitstorm and kicked me out. Or I asked him what his worldview is. I can't remember. I think he asked me what my worldview is. I was like, that's a very complicated, difficult question to answer, but I will try. Anyway, so Daniel, what is your worldview?
Shalom. Well, I'm a Jew.
Yes.
But what? Okay, that's fine. But like, what if you're a Jew? Then, but what are your? I guess, do you have any mystical understandings?
A lot of my understanding comes from the Talmud. But I am a Jew. Shalom.
I have a question.
And,
Somebody would
happy to be here on your podcast.
The Torah.
I wanted to, one of my favorite rabbis, Rabbi Shmuley.
You like Shmuel B'Teach?
B'Teach, yeah, he's one of my favorites. And his just the way he denies evolution is like no other Jew that I've met, heard, and the commitment he has to stupidity. Rabbi Shmuley, God bless him.
My dad is a vehement anti-evolutionary. person as well, and he actually, the thing is, my dad's arguments, because like him and I got baptized in this Christian church. It's like a Jew for Jesus church, but the founder of that church is very smart, and he did spend his whole life studying and creating content, and his explanations that refute evolution with regards to, just unique little tidbits, like, birds and the tracking and the flying, like there's just so many things that, I guess it comes down to genetics. Anyways, the whole thing is, it's interesting to hear the critiques of evolution using like logical proofs about situations, or organism environments, environment organisms. So it's like when you hear those, you're like, that does kind of refute evolution. And there's so many of them where, those things do get interesting once you start seeing a pattern which is anti-evolutionary. So then I think it brings you back into the simulation theory, or what a lot of people call Calvinism, I believe. So what do you think about simulation theory, or the fact that like now we're augmenting reality? So do you think there is like a base operating system at play here, or is that just God?
Yeah, that's a great question, by the way, John. And by the way, thank you for having me. And I do wish you great luck and success on this venture of yours. I have no doubt that it's going to be extraordinary. I was a simulation theorist at one. I remember those days, but I have changed my view. I'm a stimulation theorist. I think that is more about stimulation than simulation. Simulation is like a one-way. It's a one-way communication. There's nothing to be stimulated. It's just It's just a viewing. It's a dispassionate observation. When I started looking into
I know, but
when I left,
Daniel, the simulationist would say that the stimulationist is already incorporated into the simulationist.
yeah, fair enough. When I left Hasidic Judaism, I began to. That's when I was a.
Again, I want to remind everybody, this guy is probably not a Hasidic Jew, and he's this is his LARP or whatever.
Look, I was forbidden from looking at Pornhub. I was forbidden from looking at dirty magazines. I was forbidden from looking at certain VHS tapes.
Dirty ones?
Perhaps we won't get into vivid detail about the nature of those tapes, but anyway, one of the tapes was actually my mother and my father. And that frightened me from pornography altogether. That's a whole other can of worms there. But mom and dad did their own little thing going there with VHS. But look, when I started stimulating myself, and I said, hey, why stop there? I started anally stimulating myself. I started mentally stimulating myself. I started penilely stimulating myself. And I said, you know what? Now I feel like a fulfilled Jew. And I felt like it was more about being a Jew. More about being a Jew. And I thought about the Exodus, and I thought about the liberation. And I said, I have really, from traversing this chasm between simulation theory and stimulation theory, this is my Exodus. This is my journey out of Egypt. And now my orgasms are better than ever, and my prostate is in better health than it's ever been. Shalom.
That was a very vivid testimony, and I did warn my listeners over here that you most likely are not an Orthodox Jew, and that you're using this opportunity to LARP. And it made me actually think that like maybe there should be LARP intervention organizations where like we take rabid Jew haters and we get them into like a forest, and we get them to pretend that they're Jewish rabbi magicians, and that they're all casting Kabbalistic angel demon spells at each other in the forest. And then we take a bunch of, I guess, Jewish, rabid Palestinian, and Muslim haters, and we get them to LARP being Hindus, or we get them to LARP being Buddhists and Taoists, or we get them to LARP being Christian Christ killers in order to give them the opposite of what it is that their cultural conditioning is. So we would call it the Cultural Conditioning Academy or the Cultural Reconditioning Academy. What do you think about that?
Cultural conditioning camp? Because then it could be KKK.
I love that idea, Ishmael. That's even more provocative and a better marketing strategy. Daniel Nero, what do you say about our marketing strategy for our new Clown Academy?
I think it's incredible what could be
I
done if
think
you had
it's
people
pretty
just.
gay. It's super gay. I just wanted to say this. I felt it from the very beginning, and I don't want to say thank you, but thank you, I guess.
See,
Cuckoo. Gay Clown Academy.
Cuckoo, this is a reality television show where we get a bunch of neo-Nazis to come in, and they're getting paid very well, and then they dress up as a bunch of LGBTQ queer trans, and then next thing you know, these Nazis became gay, and they became trans because they LARPed it. And then when it's all said and done, you do the follow-up interview, and you're like, the after action ready, and you said, how do you feel? And they're like, I don't think I want to be a Nazi anymore because conditioning is real, Cuckoo.
Okay. So who's your favorite all-time basketball player?
Michael Jordan.
Okay. What about Pistol Pete, man?
John Stockton.
Larry Bird. I've been to Larry Bird's hometown in Indiana. It's called French Lick. It's where all the Chicago Mafia used to go. Oh my God, CAA Director Burns is here, my boss. Hey, Dr. Burns, how are you doing? Welcome to the podcast.
My boss? What? What is this?
Yeah, this is the head of the CIA.
Oh, nice. I love
He
it.
gave some great congressional testimony. Hi, how are you doing, Dr. Burns?
Spanish?
You've hypnotized everybody on this fucking app to be saying Rabboni Shalom.
I know. That's cultural conditioning in a nutshell. I mean, and if you say it enough in enough rooms, everybody starts saying it, which is amazing.
Well, let me ask you this: Do you think you remember the specific moment at which people began to figure out that you are not British? Because for like the first 6 months that I knew you, I thought that you were British. And then I mean, you kept that up for a long time.
I went out on a date once with this pretty hot chick, and I pretended I was British the whole date. And during the dinner, it started getting really exhausting. I was like, and then the accent really started fading. But she was so entranced with the British accent. I think if I even started speaking my normal voice, she wouldn't even have noticed. She would just thought like my accent changed, during the dinner or something. She's like, oh,
he's thought she's getting a little drunk.
Exactly.
She would think I'm falling for him. It's me sounding normal. I love him so much. I don't even notice his accent anymore. It's just normal now.
When I got that girl's number, I was engaged to this other girl, and it's amazing how when you're engaged to a girl, the environment is constantly trying to rat you out. Meaning that like I got this girl's number, and it got back to my fiance that I got her number, and then I took this other girl out, or I hung out at her place, and I asked her if she wanted to hook up. And then she told my fiance's friend, and it got back to her. Then the fiance was questioning. I mean, the girlfriend. Anyways, I'm just saying, like, birds are the biggest chitter chatters. So, welcome to the Jewish Clown Academy. Our CIA handler has left us, but we continue on. So, moving on, we've discussed simulation theory. We've discussed Calvinism. We've discussed stimulation versus simulation. And to me, stimulation is really the root essence of Hermetic mysticism, which is below is above, above is below. What I'm trying to say is that stimulation is not necessary because you're already a perfect mirror. So that's the Hermetic axiom or perspective, or, you are Zeus, you are Achilles, be Agamemnon.
Do you use TikTok?
I do. I record rooms on TikTok. I do the 10-minute setting. I do a cool background, and then I put my domain name. I record ghetto-ass clown rooms, and then I put that on YouTube.
TikTok? Do you ever think about just having like one?
No, I honestly I have realized the value of privacy and being private and not being public. To be a public influencer is you're missing the point. The whole point is actually data or recording people, developing relationships, gaslighting, recording, and wash and repeat.
How does that lead to profit or happiness?
Because now I have secret recordings of semi-important people acting the fool.
Like who? Jazzy?
Exactly. She might become
How
the
is how is she important?
she
She's
might
like
be
a
she might become
fat loser.
she might become the mayor of Pensacola. Next thing you know, I'll be in her office saying, "Hi, Jazzy. Remember me from 3 years ago?" And she'll be like,
Do you think
"Fuck,
she's gonna
Edmund,
be mayor of
Edmund,
Pensacola?
fuck. All right, Edmund, what you want? What you want, Edmund?" And I'd be like, "Well, the first thing you do is give him the keys to your car. Second thing you're gonna do is you're gonna have $9,000 in cash for me waiting tomorrow at 8 in the morning. Otherwise, you can kiss your mayoral career goodbye. Bye bye."
Yeah, I guess.
So, what do you
Right.
think about the?
It's a
what do you
joke,
think the
Ishmael.
prospect,
Huh?
the prospects of changing somebody like a Darth Dawkins who's so caught up in whatever he's doing. And this idea that
It's
going
patterns.
on. You know what I
So
mean?
it's
It just
patterning.
seems like
You can't.
possible.
You cannot. He is so he's patterned out. And the fact of the matter is, why you would even want to try to de-pattern somebody, that's a you problem kind of a thing. It's always a you problem. And the whole thing goes back to that we are our own worst enemy. And there's a saying by some Persian Sufi mystic that says, God told me to forgive my enemies, so I started loving myself. So that's the thing is, I'm here for personal self-improvement. I got to tell you this, Daniel, I like the good life. And you know what that means? That means no stress. And that means a great house, a great car, a great woman, a lot of money, good vacations, good food, security, exercise, health, family, prosperity, victory, joy, love. Now, you see what I'm saying? Like that's the good life. I don't come on this app uh, to go all or nothing in any way, shape, or form. I'm a recorder. I am a microphone, and I want that Google titty money. I want to drink from the milk of Sundar Pichai. In fact, we may call Sundar in just a few minutes because I'm a former employee of Google. So we're going to call Sundar and get him on the phone in just a few minutes. Are there any questions you might want to ask the CEO of Google, Dr. Pichai? Anyone? Can't even think of any questions you'd want to ask the head of
I'm
Google?
responding to my comments on my new TikTok video.
See, if we were all really good at what we're doing, we would all be recording each other
Yeah,
and cross-publishing.
Who are you? Like this person you mentioned? Who is he?
Sundar Pichai, he's the CEO of Google. Maybe you've heard of this small corporation called Google.
I know Google, but I didn't know this guy's name, to be honest.
Yeah, Dr. Pichai, Sundar.
Nice.
Well, the first question I would have for him was whatever happened to Frugal? And also, whatever happened to that little offshoot that they call Booble? And I know that you've seen that. Have you ever seen Booble?
No.
I'm not even fucking joking. This is an alarm. Google stuck their finger in the porn search market for a bit. And it was called Booble, Booble.
Bumble.
And there was some type of other campaign they did, which was about like online shopping that they did called Frugal or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should look into Google. It's just like fucking ridiculous.
I used to work in online advertising for 20 years, and I would go to all these internet trade shows, and I met with a lot of successful online pornographers, publishers, and they made, millions and millions. But even them, like you could be this really dorky guy in a condo in Manhattan worth, $30 million, $50 million, but like you're still a scrawny little Jew and you have health problems and you're on Adderall medication and you may think you know everything about Toyota, but like you're still a scrawny little Jew who looks like he has Down syndrome. So God blesses us in different ways, our ability to make money, our beauty, our ugliness. I mean, life is a life is a tragedy, but it's a comedy, and everybody's born penniless, and everybody's going to die penniless. So, the pursuit of wisdom is a very valuable endeavor in one's life. And wisdom is very simple. It's not as complicated as we think it is, and most people never pursue it because it's just not an interest. And there's 100 million different mediums and pieces of content to look at, which are constantly competing for your eyes. So I have accumulated about 1,300 books of high value wisdom, which is really all just reframing material or ways to scramble your brain to bring you back to the now. And ultimately, I don't want to have any real fixed position. Um, I think it's better to just be a recorder in life and let other people do the clowning around while I pursue, interesting academic studies. But I can say that just like a couple years of doing this, the whole thing does boil over, or it refines into emotional intelligence, meaning that how strong is your will? How strong is your personality? How strong is your identity? How strong are you? Because if you're really strong, you're not going to come on here, or if you're really intelligent as well, you're not going to come on here and waste your energy screaming into a microphone, or you're not going to listen to things which are causing you emotional stress. So, emotional control deals with the chicken and the egg thing, and that's what Joe, the founder or the runner of this app, employee of this app, was talking about, where the chicken and the egg thing deals with duality and non-duality, or unity with God or separation from God. And God is a peacemaker. Blessed are the peacemakers. So all these people on this app that are having mood swing disorder all the time and emotional distress, they have not done the gnosis, or the unity work with God. And if you look at the word gnosis, it's know. That's the first word, know. And then is. So is knowing, meaning what do you know and what do you understand? My name is John. I've read the book St. John a couple times, and when you read the Gospel by St. John, or you read the Revelator, the book of the Apocalypse, I'm glad my parents called me John, because like that's a great legacy. um, John was the forerunner to the King of the Jews, and it's just such a trip because it's content. And like Cuckoo's like, oh, we need to create a new script. It's like, bro, the greatest scripts are already been made, and a lot of those scripts haven't even been made into movies. I mean, when was the last time you saw a movie about John St. John? I mean, no, I never seen it. I've seen a lot of like Mel Gibson, Christ, murder fetish movies, but I've never seen a movie on wisdom. I've never seen. So there's a lot of exciting things that can happen in the future because the wisdom is just sitting there and it's never been really been put on the movie screen, but it should be. It's not secret. It's right there. So I don't know. Those are my coffee and blunt comments of the morning. Welcome to the Jewish Clown Academy.
Absolutely, John. I mean, there's a lot there. So seldom are these prophets amongst us recognized. It makes us wonder. Ed, by the way, welcome. And I wanted to say that Ed is like that for me. He's like my St. John, as opposed to my Jesus. He's just someone that has been unrecognized on this app. I've known him for years, but the wisdom that comes from him is extraordinary. And we would love if you would come and join us, Ed. To what do we owe the pleasure of your company? Greetings, brother. Come on up. Let's have a...
Daniel, I will also just point out that like I am just a guy in my underpants. I am no prophet. I am a spiritual entertainer in the same way that Alan Watts is a spiritual entertainer. But my shtick is I call myself a self-actualization comedian, or self-actualization philosopher, or what like Mel Brooks said in History of the World when he said, I'm a court philosopher, and she's like, did you bullshit last week? Did you bullshit this week? Are you gonna bullshit next week? Remember that scene from History of the World where the Golden Girl, the woman from the television show Golden Girls, was working at the welfare office?
Absolute classic film. I mean, I could go on for hours about it. Ed, why don't you come on up here so that I can have a brief natter with you, a little water cooler talk, Ed, and it's about escorts and tomato juice.
Have you seen the movie Vacuums by any chance?
No.
Because we do need a new script. We always need a new script.
Hey, Muffles, why don't you turn that mic up there, dog face?
Is it? That is high quality.
Yeah, you are mumbling a lot, Cuckoo. Like you can barely hear you, and you're like talking over people. But if you think that's your cool troll, I mean, see, this is the thing about schmucks who ask questions on this app, and they do back and forth. Where are you from? How old are you? Blah 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 blah. It's like I don't give a fuck about who you are or where you're from. Just share with me your information. I just want your intelligence. Otherwise, I'm just gonna record you.
I want your information, bro. Come on. Okay, so, have you seen the
Yeah, so many of the discussions are just so unbelievably low tier that they just we enter a room and you're merely there to test your patience. Like, how compassionate can you be in any given moment? And it is a struggle. It is a struggle to be patient in the face of just like complete abject ignorance. But then it also points to our own ignorance as well. Like, who are we, right? But the majority of the conversations that happen here are so empty and so bottomless that it just seems like there is something to be said about fatal. I mean, there is something to be said that humanity is just done. We're toast, right? And when you listen to some of the shit that we say to one another, and I have no hope. I lost hope. But still, I press on.
Well, the thing is, once you accumulate enough wisdom,
How can you even think that there's fucking hope listening to this shit? There's nothing there.
because I can go into the
stop being optimistic, man.
no
That's where you're holding on.
no. Well, I see. Well, I liked what somebody wrote in the chat once in a room where it's like, I've given up. I have no hope for the future, and all these things. It's like, that's fine. Okay, I agree with you. But the thing is, I still want to have my good ride down the water slide. So, I'm optimistic. Not just I'm optimistic for me, meaning that like, a lot of like I could be in the same boat with a lot of people, and this boat could be full of shit, and it could be on a course with this. Let me just put it: if we were on the Titanic and we knew it was going to crash and we couldn't stop it, I still would have had the best time on that fucking boat, because like I just went to a cousin's wedding, and other family members didn't show up. And my point is, it's the person. We're all on the same. We're all on the same disaster ship. Yeah, it's the person who has the best attitude, which is the one that everybody gravitates to, and because that person is really the only person who has any chance whatsoever of saving the ship for everybody else.
Is that always true?
Not always. There's always, I'm just saying it's better to be the optimist and the positive person because it's for your own well-being. First of all, that's the primary.
This is a narcissistic question because it's about myself, but how is it now? The other day, somebody referred to me as a light being, like hyphenated.
Yeah.
Somebody who came to my plant walk, I saw her a week later. She was like, something. She was like, when I met you, I thought to myself, who is this light being? Like a being of light. That was her impression of me.
Yeah, but that's her hypnosis. You're not the first person she's ever said that to.
But this is the question. How come when people meet me offline, they think that I'm like a being of light?
It's an occult reference.
Let me finish the question, if I may. There's a contradiction I'm trying to elucidate. When I meet people offline, they perceive me as a being of light. When I interact with people online, even on Clubhouse, they often perceive me to be a jerk. Where's the disconnect here?
It's the same thing. Everybody goes through that because this is the safe space where you can't get punched in the nose. And then in the real world, when there's a force threat, which goes both ways, it's all different. This is audio simulation or stimulation, and real world, there's so much more communication because it's visual, it's real, there's a security component. So it's the reference in occult materials says that the light cannot come out of the egg until you crack it. So basically, if you turn your mind into a bag of rags, that's one way to let the light out, meaning that you have no positioning. you have no perspective, you have no opinion and no judgment. So from that perspective, you are the one. You are the Neo in the Matrix. You are the light being, and you can penetrate into people's souls. So that's the magic power of being a light bearer, and if you want to enhance the magnitude or the luminosity or the numinosity of your light, you have to do inner work. You have to do emotional intelligence training. I've used a lot of occult materials to do emotional intelligence training, and it is a reframing or a repositioning, and it is magic. So when I say magic, I've used a lot of Thelema or Aleister Crowley material, but also just the Tao Te Ching in itself is enough. That book alone can unite you with the universe. And I did it on this app yesterday. I can do it again for you guys right now if you want. But the Tao Te Ching is probably the most straightforward hypnosis manual for gnosis or unity work with God, which is psychotherapeutic internal work, which will help give you emotional strength and personal character stability. It'll make you more dense. It'll give you greater gravity.
Inshallah.
Yeah, so you could look at Muhammad and see what he did, and it's the same story as Jesus Christ and other prophets who went into the cave, which is the metaphor for the mind. They stayed there for 10 days, 3 years, whatever, came back out, and boom, their gravity was amplified exponentially to the millionth degree. Next thing you know, the whole world was magnetized on them, and they went and they conquered the world in the material world. So this is essentially an alchemical formula for financial success.
But what if it was physical though? Like if you actually went to the cave for 10 days.
It's all metaphoric every single time. I know you're a literalist and a materialist. It doesn't make a difference. We're here on a social audio chat app. We should be talking about metaphors, similes, paradoxes, parallels, etc.
Should we know?
We should be, because that's what we are doing.
That's what you're doing. What you're saying.
See, this is this big separation between the material and the psychological or the
That's what
philosophical.
you're saying.
Can I, Cuckoo? Can I pick? Do you write screenplays?
Started some, yes.
Can I give you an idea? You just take it and make money.
I left my corporate job, and I spent 7 years making nothing but bowls.
That's amazing. I mean, now you could turn that into a story, to be honest. Like a short story turned long. I think it would sell, to be honest. Kind of like, was it Tom Farley, or what is his name? Chris Farley? Something like that. What's that movie called? You know what I'm talking about, man.
Tommy Boy.
Yes, thank you.
How can I monetize that? How can I monetize that ability?
I mean, you need his brother to play the role or something. It's like Tommy Boy 2, prompted by JT.
I didn't really think that movie was very funny.
It was. Except for
Well,
the goat scene.
I didn't think that it was.
No, but when the dad was...
Have you ever heard of E Prime? John, have you heard of E Prime? Is your name John?
My second name is Jonathan. So you could say that I'm also like John.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt?
No.
Because that's my name, actually. That was my name, too, originally at birth.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever met anybody named John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt?
Sure, I will never remember this.
Well, Cuckoo, do you know who the first person to sign? What's the biggest signature on the United States Charter, our Declaration, our Constitution?
John Hancock.
Johnny Hancock.
Yeah. So look at that name, John, hand, and a cock. So those are three Hermetic references. John is the Greek for Hermes, which deals with communication or information technology. And Cuckoo, I gotta say, you're very low on the IQ spectrum and also on the EQ spectrum. Do you agree with me, Kitty Cat?
Also on the volume.
And the volume and the mumble. But he's German, though, Daniel. So we got to give him. He's actually maybe smarter than we think.
I'm half German, guys. I'm not like a whole German, okay?
You have the lowest IQ and EQ, the equivalent
I'm pretty sure
of
the
anyone
exact
that I've ever
opposite.
met. And
So this is not a...
We're picking on you, Cuckoo. Cuckoo, we do want to toughen you up. Because we don't want you wasting our time, and vis-a-vis, we don't want to waste your time. Okay, Cuckoo?
No, nobody's wasting my time.
Yeah, Cuckoo, look, the idea is that we have to initiate. It's like clubbing a baby seal because you are harmless. When we say something like you are, I mean, we look into your just glassy eyes and your cute face, and we raise the club up, and
But
when we do, in doing so, we are reading your
picture.
whatever it is that you're emanating, this dim odor. We're eliminating that from the earth, and we want to club you like a seal in front of them. You're a dumb son of a bitch.
Daniel, hold on, Cuckoo. Let me ask Daniel. Do you think?
Hold on, Cuckoo.
Oh, he had to leave.
That guy was evil, guys.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Cuckoo,
I've heard him get really angry.
My penis is gay. What's wrong with you, man?
I knew an Indian man on this app whose name was Penis.
Oh God.
Do you know Penis, Edmund?
No, but I know your mama.
There was a guy whose name was Penis. P-E-E-N-U-S. Penis.
Okay, I'm gonna do a gnosis, unless you're finished. But I just want to read a little bit of Tao to you.
I'm never finished, to be honest.
I can go for hours.
Yeah, man, go. But let's write a script while we do it. Something with action.
Wait a minute. I told you a minute ago.
Yeah.
I actually asked you lovingly and kindly.
Oh, you want to
I said,
together?
can I give you an idea? You can take it and go and make money.
Oh, that's different than what I
I
just
mean,
said.
actually, my idea is,
Yeah, I said yes. I said
can
yes.
don't you want to listen to me when I'm talking to you? I listen to you when you're talking to me.
I mean, talk.
I mean, I can't hear you. I'm wearing headphones, so I'm
listen.
talking to you, and I'm hearing your voice. Actually,
Ishmael, I think I understand now why he calls himself Cuckoo.
I don't even know if I should share with you this idea because it's actually a good idea.
Go ahead, just say honestly, Ishmael. I could tell you the best fucking chicken franchise concept in the world, and you would never open a chicken franchise.
I've got a lot of chicken franchise ideas. Did I tell you about that? Do you know about Japanese knotweed?
No.
Do you have that? Do you know any plants?
No, not really. No, I don't know much about anything.
I wonder if you guys have Japanese knotweed out there. Anyway, I've been.
We got
making
milkweed.
Japanese knotweed. Yeah, milkweed is edible. Milkweed is good.
Yeah, we got that.
Japanese knotweed range. Anyway,
There's no
so you want to hear my movie idea? Yeah, you have it out there in Chicago.
Fish milk? Do you know it? Fish milk. It's an
Fish
Indian
sticks?
dish.
Do you like fish
Fish
sticks?
milk. It's an Indian dish.
I would never eat any Indian food.
I'm kidding. There's no
I
fish
only
milk.
eat
Fish milk.
chicken tenders. Listen, this is how time is wasted. I mean, I wanted to talk to John about making a podcast, which could result.
Oh yeah. Go for it. And then tell me the script thing or not.
Well, the script thing, I'll tell you, the script is just a story about me. I'm the star.
Nice. What's your name?
My name is Zach.
Oh, Zaki. Okay.
Yeah. So the story is about a kid from New York City who moves to somewhere, like a small town in New England, Portland, Maine, or some other town in Maine, probably, and then starts teaching about nature connection and basket making and something. We could change it, but this is what it is at its core. It's about. Maybe I should just write this book. I probably should just write this thing. I mean, I have so many. That's the thing. What is it? What do you call it? A chicken franchise? That's a good term.
Yeah.
Fucking fried chicken. That's another fried chicken franchise.
It's a way to get out of the idea that like your startup business ideas actually mean something, because the concept is there's nothing new under the sun, that everything that is has already been. So if we were to look at the movie Free Willy or some other type of nature education movie, like your movie's already been made, but you want it to be about you. So what I'm trying to say is like all chicken franchises it's the same thing as liquor. It's all the same shit. It's the cult of same-o, which is same old shit.
Chicken, guys. It's a different chicken.
Cuckoo, I will say though that you are being very difficult intentionally, and that's fine. But like, if you're incapable of actually having rational, coherent, tangent conversations, okay. Anyways, Cuckoo is honestly, I had a lengthy conversation. Hold on, I had a lengthy conversation with him about creating a script, so I accepted his request on Instagram, and as far as I can tell, he's just a waste of your time.
So he's not actually connected to somebody at Netflix? Is he in America? Is he
Ishmael, I'll just say this as a person who has had actually successful businesses under my belt, nothing major, but enough to where it's like, well, I've had a good life so far. If you want something done, you do it yourself. You don't rely on some kitty cat named Cuckoo.
Amen. Oh, I wouldn't say that. I would always be clean, to be honest.
Daniel, so I was gonna ask you about anger management and like letting yourself get angry. Like, do you find catharsis in screaming at people? And I guess because I have friends that have been locked up in jail, and I didn't know that they had anger management issues, but like their incidents where they got locked up dealt with like massive blasts of rage, and it was usually road rage, generally speaking. But do you think you have like pent up super uber aggression rage in your heart or in your psyche, or like why do you not have control over it? Like, do you think you have an anger management issue, Dan?
Well, I'm actually not angry. It takes a lot to get me angry, and you can tell when I'm angry. It's a different thing altogether. What I'm doing is it's the drama of it that I think is intriguing, and I think it's captivating for people listening as well. It's a way to get people's attention. But no, I don't feel a sense of anger when you hear me in those states. It's just put on almost entirely. But there have been moments when I've like lost my shit. But when I lose my shit, I don't scream like that. When I lose my shit, I get really I get a lot more quiet, a lot more focused, and a lot more vicious with my the words I use. But yeah, that's just completely put on. I'm not angry at that sort of stuff.
So the interesting thing is when there's a talented voice actress or actor in a room who can really make you feel immediately like you're experiencing what they're experiencing, or being highly emotional, screaming, getting angry. It's just amazing how that chicken and egg or organism environment organism, it reciprocates, and you are being made of water. The vibration you receive, I mean, your body like takes on the emotions, so emotional transfer is real, and it's because we listen to it. And it's just incredible how this app proves emotional audio transfer. So words and the way that we emit them, all the varying ways, it's just incredible. So it kind of goes back to my hypothesis that I didn't create. I read in a book called All Communication is Hypnosis.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say so, and I would say that is evidence of the case as well. But it's interesting that it's believable. So I got this type of rage. People hear it and they're thinking, "Oh, this is someone who's just unhinged at the moment." But when in fact, it's very calculated, and there isn't anything all that. There is something spontaneous about it, and that's what I enjoy. It has to be an element of creativity involved in it, but almost exclusively that is performative and spontaneous, and it's not hateful or anything like that.
Yeah, how.
And I myself am not angry though. I promise you that.
See, this is the thing about the fact that most people are good and not bad, is that there's this meditation called self-remembering. You can look in a mirror and just like do a very self-centered, narcissistic, egotistical meditation, remembering yourself and like, thinking, oh, I'm my number one priority, because most of the time we are such givers and such compassionate, caring people, and we want to help everyone. So what I'm trying to say is that like you by being very angry and very depressed or very suicidal, or it's a manipulation. It's a communication manipulation, and people are so compassionate and giving that their heart goes out to somebody who they hear and feel is having such a hard time. So that's why I say you have to be very, very stoicism in many ways. The elimination of emotions can help can help you in many ways, especially in the fact that the simulation is going to play out and the truth is going to come out. The truth cannot be heard. This is the whole thing about the Tao, meaning that the silence is the truth. So to me, when I hear communication, and it's the like you said, the gut instinct is to trust it 100% every time. But the truth is, trust nothing that you hear. Trust no one that you meet, especially the flatterer. And it's so easy for like Joe, the guy who, the co-founder of this app, he flattered me yesterday. He was like, "You sound very interesting. I'd actually really like to hear more about what you have to say." And
Wait, I'm a flatterer as well.
no.
Shut the fuck up.
No, really, I am.
He's in the middle of a story. I was
No,
listening.
Ishmael, don't sweat it. The whole point is about anger management. So like what Cuckoo just did could set somebody off into a rage. And there's rooms like that where
fucking did. Jesus Christ.
well, there's rooms like that where there's just one green bean moderator, and that person loves the power, loves the dopamine feedback rush from just continually talking and pontificating, and they're generally very low IQ. So it takes forever to get it. You'd be better off just reading the book. And that's the ultimate conclusion, is that for me personally, I've dropped out of a lot of things because I'd just rather read the book and leave it at that, because most people want to pontificate and opinionate and ask questions and waste all your time. It's like, just give me the meat and potatoes, and then we'll end the meeting. That's it. So that's the Jewish Clown Academy.
What I find interesting is that how you're seeing Jefferson, and a lot of people, depending upon their perspective, love what you do, but then at the same time, they'll hate what you do. It's like, let's say that you go into a room and you'll do what it is that you do, and they're observing it. And
We should all smoke more weed, by the way. Okay?
Smoke your own
That's right.
fucking daddy's dick. How about
I
that?
think Jefferson really brings our attention to this idea that, look, it's not what he's doing inherently that is going to be either disruptive or trollish or provoking anger. There's nothing inherently about what he's doing that's the case. And it's just, it's how you are interpreting it. And you can even interpret it. Let's say Jefferson was in a room where you have people that you just completely disagree with. You think that the conversation they're having is complete garbage. It's just funny. It becomes funny, as opposed to something that people get upset about. But I do appreciate Jefferson very much, and hope that he continues persevering. And I think it's wonderful. And
I mean,
you really need
he
to work on yourself.
he said cuckoo. Oh my god.
So let me bring up the thing about
traffic, you piece of shit.
Let me bring up the concept of the Rabbono Shel Olam, meaning that like the cultural conditioning, the clown house conditioning is real. You can condition people here through audio, and this is the whole root essence of Logos, the Word of God. If the universe was created with words, and words are numbers, it is equations, it is software. So our hardware updates are dependent upon your desire to open the books, because coming on Clown House isn't even Cliff Notes. This is just raw spoken word hypnosis with no real highly built back-end structure. Most people are not philosophers. They're not theologians. They're not highly educated on this app. Very rarely will you hear PhDs. I mean, and when you do, you recognize the fact that you slow it down and you're like, huh, this is a learned person who is discussing, but again, it mostly comes down to emotional intelligence. So, I think this app can be beneficial for people's mental health. It can be beneficial for people's IQs. And when you do communicate with people, in a very transparent, honest, authentic manner, you do leave traces of your gas in their nostrils. And, Raboino Shalom. So Daniel, you said are you Christian? Are you Jewish? Are you just a spiritualist, or what's your worldview, Daniel Nero?
I don't know. I mean, at the moment, I'm just investigating. Well, I was raised a Roman Catholic. I left it at a younger age, then revisited it as an adult, and then left again. But at the moment, I'm trying to see what it is that people are pointing at when they say God. What is it? What is this reference that they're referring to? What is the direction of their prayer? What is the direction of their hope? What is the direction of their when they ask for things, good things, not like any old thing. But what are they? What's that directed at? Is it inward? Something inside? And that's the difficulty I'm having is God a concept, and is it a valuable concept, or is God something that is out there that you can poke? I don't think that God is something that's out there that we can interact with.
It's not.
I'm an atheist.
I'm an anthropologist.
So the teachings of the Buddha, I heard Alan Watts say yesterday, are dialectic. If you can't accept the dialectic, well, again, it's a you problem. But if you want to have a conversation about God and the dialectic, you have to accept the rules of the game, which are the sounds, the names, the symbols. So it is a database of symbolism. And
what about indigenous? Do you think that? What about the indigenous people who believe in Glooskap? You know about Glooskap?
Yeah.
I guess they just believe in God just the same, so they have the same concept of God. So it's not very exciting anyway, but they just believe in a Christian God, except they think that humans came out of the tree instead of out of, Iraq.
That's really interesting.
Ismail, you never heard about that?
Well, before you tell us about it, I do want to mention that, the whole thing for me, again, is emotional intelligence, meaning anger management. Because, I remember a room in IU had where I don't know, I moved you to the audience, or I kicked you out, or I don't know what it was, but I was getting.
Never.
Oh yeah, you were getting me angry, and
Oh, I remember. Yes, I.
oh, you wanted to read a poem. You wanted to read a poem.
I wanted to read a poem,
yeah.
And you didn't express any interest, and I was very hurt by that.
Yeah. So my point is cuckoo is a good triangle in the situation, meaning that cuckoo, the name says it all. So if you don't understand that you're communicating with the cuckoo clock, you are the fucking cuckoo clock. So what I'm trying to say it does always go back to chicken, egg, chicken, or organism, environment, organism. It's like you're in a trap, but you're not just in a trap, you are the trap. It's a unity thing versus a non-duality thing.
Well, that's why I asked you at the beginning of this conversation. Have you been diagnosed with something from a doctor?
You guys just insult in a smart way. That's all it is. You just insult in a smart way.
I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm wondering, because I have been diagnosed with a mental disorder, and I'm wondering what other people have received when they go to the...
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you about my experience with psychiatrists and the hospital industrial complex and the pharmaceutical industrial complex and diagnoses, and I'm transparent about all that stuff. I have no shame in my game.
I'm just wondering, because sometimes you seem very smart and reasonable, and then other times you seem crazy, but maybe it's just you're playing a character. Or maybe you're actually crazy. I was talking with a friend. Can I tell you this, John? I was talking with a friend the other day. I can tell you this. This is another use of Clown House because none of you guys know anybody in my life.
But wait, before you tell us the story, this goes back to the
All
thing where you said where the person you met in real life says you're like a light bearer, but on Clown House people think you're a prick. This is my point is when I meet people in the real world, like I'm very, very considerate.
They
You
want to
know?
fuck.
No, I mean I treat people the way I want to be treated, but on this
I
app,
was
I
listening
don't
to
have to
you.
treat.
No, I
Yeah.
was listening to you talking to that woman on the phone. I was like, yeah, I'd fuck him. No homo. But I mean, you were very charming and listening well and communicating well, and you had a nice plan for the day.
Right,
You were
listening.
excited. Yeah, you were a good listener. You're not listening.
Well,
Jason,
that
you're
see
not
that
listening.
cuckoo. That's our critique of you. Is like you're
Jason,
incapable of listening.
You're not listening.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not listening. Okay. So.
How many years ago was that? How many years ago was that when I was going around saying you're not listening or whatever it was?
That was good. Yeah, that was. I mean, I took probably like a good year off of Clubhouse, and when I got mad at you about the poem, that was at the end of my last episode with Club. That was before Ishmael Zaloni, or whatever it is. But anyway, I'm sorry about that, and I'm sure you are too, or maybe you're not, because there's nothing to apologize for.
No. My point is like the now is the learning moment for both of us. So like I have another friend on here named Doctor, where basically I've given up the anger emotional response and I just let him run. And I take the time and the patience, knowing that I don't want to listen to what he's talking about, but I do have freedom of choice to just drop out at any moment. So, when you give somebody grace, it's like you do it because you want to invest in that friendship. Um, and really relationships are the most difficult thing in life. And like when somebody ghosts you, it doesn't feel good. But the whole thing about Stoic wisdom and education is you just got to you're in a river and you just have to keep flowing. And you'll lose that emotional charge if you just keep flowing. The moment you start resisting the current, you're re-energizing the emotional charge. So I'm just saying, like, I respect you. I think what you're doing is great, and I know you'll have success. But if you don't start recording and making yourself into a microphone and recording everything and publishing everything, you really should. I mean, I've encouraged you to bootleg this app before. And it liberates you from the app. You realize what's happening. It is a hypnosis. It's a mass communication hypnosis industrial complex on this app.
Well, respectfully, my time on this app is not the core issue in my life. I mean, I'm not that upset by people on this app. I was in the beginning because I had an expectation that other people were going to be like me. But then I did learn over time. I mean, I don't like yelled at anybody. I have no interest in yelling at people on Clubhouse. But I am navigating a challenge with my reputation in town, which is difficult to navigate. And that's why I keep wanting to I keep making these videos hoping that people who hate me will see the videos and think, oh, he's a reasonable guy. I should stop hating him. But, of course, maybe that's me not flowing with
I was just in Salt Lake City and I made beautiful love to this 6-foot brunette in her $1 million condo.
Fatty.
And she had a statue of the Buddha, the fat Buddha, with a stick laughing and fish and happy as a fat man. And the name of that Buddha is Buddhai, or the rascal Buddha. So it does go down to evil inclination or Yetzer Hara versus Yetzer Tov. So be good, but be private, but be good. I mean, that is very good business advice. J.P. Morgan said, think a lot, write little, say nothing. Think a lot, write little, say nothing. Your tongue is the symbol of life or death. It can give life to you or it can give death to you, and it can give life to others and it can give death to others. It's the power of the word. This is the movie Dune when he said, I can kill with a word. It is the spirit. You do need to cultivate the spirit, which is strength. It is the law, and it is divine. People are going to throw you off of your balance, man. This is the whole game everybody's playing. People want to gaslight you, dox you, ruin your rep. Okay, think a lot, write little, say nothing. That's the whole secret. And if you want to go on the attack, go on the attack. Be Hermes. Communicate. Communicate. It's the only weapon you have. And all these politicians are demonstrations of it. Go to AOC's Instagram and just prove to yourself how pathetic you are.
I haven't looked at her Instagram in a while.
My point is compare yourself to her and realize what she's doing is hermetic mysticism. She's communicating hypnosis. You're not doing it as well as she is.
I'm looking now.
The point is she live streamed.
Christian. She's got a fucking cross on her face on Ash Wednesday. You think she's
she's in a Catholic cult. Yep.
You want to hear my story real quick and tell me if you think this guy's crazy or not?
Go ahead.
So I'll make it real quick. I have a friend who's a business associate. He's a colleague. He's in my same field. He has suffered harassment from the same legion of trolls, and I think that he has dealt with it more poorly than I have. And I was talking with him. He recently had like a series of breakdowns. I used to think this guy was like had it all together. He had a great business. You know, I could go on. But then I was talking with him, and he said that he was the reincarnation of Blackbeard, the pirate, and that he roamed the streets of Portland in 1750 or 1700s. And he said, I remember all this. My wife, I dated her when in 1855. He said, I remember all my past lives. So what do you think? At that point, disengage?
No, that's still just LARPing.
You think he knows that he?
Yes, he knows where he came from, which is his mother's uterus. He knows the name of the block he grew up on. He knows what his childhood bedroom looks like. He's a LARPer. Everyone's LARPing.
He knows that he's not Blackbeard.
Yes,
that's
he
his. Trolling me then?
Yeah, he's trolling you.
Also disengage also because he's not.
It's his spirit animal. It's how he's trying to associate. It's how he's trying to disassociate, or it's him trying to empower himself. That's his philosophy. I want to be a pirate. Like that's his modus operandi. And play with it if you want. If not, disengage. But this is the beautiful thing about Clown House. Is like truth is, I don't want to meet anybody on Clown House. I don't. I would rather start businesses with people on Clown House and make money with them before I ever even waste my time of meeting with them in person.
Do you want to hear about some other fried chicken franchises that I got?
Go ahead.
I got other fried chicken. So Japanese knotweed. It grows where you live. I have been using it to make fruit leather. I mean, fuck Japanese knotweed fruit leather. What about beef jerky?
Well, what about chicken jerky?
Well, chicken jerky. Okay, have you ever had chicken jerky? I don't know if that would be any good.
Yeah. So what's the difference?
That's a good question. I was just wondering, do you think you would have to cook the chicken first? Because beef jerky, you can just make it from raw beef, just dried. But I thought that, I don't know if you dry raw chicken, if it becomes edible.
I don't know how we do it, but I know it can be done.
Do you eat a lot of beef jerky?
No.
Or chicken?
No, I eat chicken, but I don't eat beef jerky.
When you talk about making businesses, like is recording clubhouse rooms and posting them.
Listen, my uncle was in the insurance business. He liked it because it was a paper business. It's no warehouse. It's no work. It's not real work. It's not doing anything for anybody. It's not fixing a car. We're talking about intelligence, information, technology. This is what we're doing now. A lot of it is psychospiritual work. A lot of it is hypnosis work. A lot of it is mass communication conditioning. A lot of this is just Tony Robbins' business. Don't you get it? Tony Robbins is in the hypnosis business. The Federal Reserve is in the hypnosis business.
I worked for this guy, and I wonder if I want to just do. I mean, I don't know if you would want to do this business, but I did work for a small time for somebody who sells. He creates a pamphlet of local businesses that is to be put at high-end locations in regions around the country. Yacht clubs, country clubs, golf courses. It's like a placemat in the diner where they advertise mechanics, but this is a high-end. At the yacht club, they advertise boat wrappers or a really nice restaurant, and then he just sells ads. Is that a good business?
Wait, tell me the business again.
So, you know when you go to the diner and there's like a placemat or on the mug, there's like advertisements on the mug that's like fucking mechanic shop.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So he makes like a short magazine or a pamphlet. It's called Luxury and Leisure. I think it's called Luxury and Leisure Guide or something.
Bro, didn't you say math hypnosis?
Yeah, didn't you say fucking milk? What did you say? Milk bread? Milk soup? Soup milk?
What's up, guys? I was listening with the break.
I mean, when you're talking about making a business, what kind of business is it? Should I make wine? You want to make wine? What about wine? Wine is very big.
So I do.
Wine is going to be big.
I have a wine vine here on my property, and it puts out maybe like, God, I don't know, 40 pounds of wine or 40 pounds of grapes. And I looked into buying the fermentation powder and the bag to do the filtering, and it's rather complicated. And
I could teach you. I mean, I teach winemaking professionally. I can teach you. I could give you every answer to every question that you have about making wine at home. Is that a business? Teaching winemaking? Because that is my business.
Well, just send me your YouTube link of you doing the whole thing.
I have a YouTube link. You want me to fucking post the link? Let me find it. Dandelion wine, Rewild, Maine. Making dandelion wine. Oh, that's a class. Let's go to videos. How to make dandelion wine, part 1. It's a two-parter.
Dandelion video.
Expedia. All your trip, all in one place. Download the app. Send professional invoices and get paid faster with the QuickBooks.
Yo, John, you be the FBI agent on this app?
All right, copy.
No, but I did interview with the FBI, and they offered me the job of special agent, or yeah.
Bymaster.
You know why they wanted to hire me? They were like, "Why do you want to work at the FBI?" And I said, "Because I want to catch people that hack into people's online brokerage accounts and steal their life savings." I was like, I can't think of anything more devastating, and I know it's happening. And they looked at each other. They were like, "Wow, okay." And then I had to go to the physical fitness test during COVID, and honestly, I don't think I could pass it. I guess I wasn't really in good enough shape. But I should have had the balls. If I would have just showed up, I bet you they would have gave me the job anyways, but I didn't do it.
John, first of all, PTR for the winemaking video, part 1. You can find the link to part 2.
Oh, wow.
I could explain it to you. I could probably, the way video is good. But let me ask you this. Do you ever think about doing jiu-jitsu?
Oh, I've done jiu-jitsu for years. I used to.
Oh.
I was in the Army, and
Are you still doing it?
My friend runs Gracie Berry gym here. He's got his own Gracie Academy.
Berry. That's what I do. Yeah. Gracie Berry. You should do that.
I saw that.
Yeah. There you go.
I know you did that, and my friend has been doing that, and he's like a master gazillionaire black belt. He's got a huge academy, and my friend is so tough. One time I was like, "All right, let me grapple. Let's grapple, and we'll do submission fighting." Bro, he was like, I was like a 3-year-old child attacking a 30-year-old grown man. It was so pathetic. But the point is, I've done all that for years, and you get injured doing that shit. It's I like it, but I would like to start doing that stuff again, and I have time. But the point is, Zach, I have a sailboat here in Chicago, and it's at this incredible nature reserve with all these it's a bird sanctuary on the beach here in Chicago. And I like to do yoga, and I just want to work out, do cardio, lift weights. Like, the fighting stuff is great.
Do you do Bikram yoga?
I don't do hot yoga anymore, but I can, and I would if I was a paying member of a yoga place, but I don't do that.
Well, it's not about the hot. It's about the Bikram sequence.
Oh, yeah. I've done it many times.
I mean, I really like that yoga.
It's powerful yoga.
Anyway, do you want to make wine? Because you don't have to make wine from grapes. And the business is, I mean, I don't know. I got to just pick one, I guess.
The better business is to be in the pictures business, man. This is the Jewish Clown Academy, not the Slave Academy, bro. Let the slaves serve.
In the pictures. So do you want to hear my movie idea?
Yeah, go for it. Because this is what Cuckoo really is all about.
Well, so the movie is about a guy from the city who likes nature and wants to connect with nature. And I have a title already. I think a working title could be The Protectors. The Protectors. Okay, so this guy from the city goes to the country and he wants to be a nature guide. So he has like, little nature connection, and then he starts doing nature stuff. Maybe he's doing exactly what I'm doing. Maybe we change it a little bit. He's doing something with nature. But somehow he steps on the toes of the natives. And then he begins to incur the ire of the natives. And the natives are trolling him online, just like they're trolling me online. But here's where it leaves reality is the trolling gets much worse. I mean, it actually is still in the realm of reality because these people are like posting my address online and posting my vehicle description and my license plate online, and they're contacting my business associates when I do a class at, whatever, the adult education place. Then they email the adult education place. 15 people email the same adult education place, and they say, this guy's a rapist. This guy's a racist. This guy sexually assaulted my fucking fat cousin or something. All a bunch of bullshit. Then in the movie, it gets even worse. They start maybe protesting. Nobody's ever shown up IRL to any of my shit because I think that they're a bunch of keyboard warriors. But in the movie, they start showing up IRL. People have shown up IRL when I wasn't around. Like somebody put a Free Palestine sticker on my truck over the Rewild Maine words. So they didn't just slap it on my truck. They put it over Rewild Maine like they knew me. And I have a little sign post outside my house where I hang my sign when I'm doing classes in the backyard. Somebody broke the sign post. Maybe it was a homeless person, but probably not, because why would they just break my random signpost? It's been there for 5 years. Okay, so then in the movie, it gets worse and worse. And I found out, this is true too, John, this is a fact. I found out that the ultimate goal, I thought that they wanted me to change my business or something, or that there was a way to appease them, but there isn't. And then I thought that they would stop if I ignored them, but they haven't stopped. Then I found out, I finally had a conversation with one of these people, and I said, what is your goal? Is your goal to get me to close my business, move away from Maine? She said, yeah, go to fucking Israel, you fucking Zionist. Go to Israel where you belong. Move away from Maine. Kill yourself. So then she started saying, kill yourself, kill yourself. Then, this is a fact, I found out that another victim of her harassment, of these people, it's like a crew of people, right? It's not just one person, it's like a crew. And one of the victims of the harassment is my friend who went mad. He turned into Blackbeard. In the video, in the movie, he'd be like a blithering idiot, drooling, and he'd be in the insane asylum. But another victim of this person, this same team, literally committed suicide last year. This young woman in town, I was watching her become a victim of this online harassment. I didn't really know her very well, but I sent her a message like, hey, stay strong, sister, Then I find out that she killed herself, okay? So in the movie, this is where the movie really gets exciting. In the movie, I would either be killed or probably would be better if I killed myself. And it's the protectors. They're protecting the native land. They have a scalping the colonists.
So that's how the movie ends?
No, that's not how it ends. That's not how it ends. This is how it ends. So I kill myself. But it's the protectors, right? I kill myself. And then my mother, who is 78 years old, and this is really my mother's movie idea. My mom came up with this idea. But then my mother goes on a serial murder spree and turns into like a secret agent and murders them all. Then it turns into like an action movie.
So in the beginning, it was really interesting because I was like, I had a moment where you were telling us the story, and it sounded like a metaphor for something else. So have you seen that Quentin Tarantino film with Charles Manson where Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah, the Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood Ending or whatever. I can't remember what it was called.
Once Upon a Time in
Once
Hollywood.
Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah. So I love like those comedy shock murder endings. And there's a whole history of movies, and especially that Game of Thrones.
Right, it'd be like the last 10 minutes, last 20 minutes, she's like putting on gloves. She like shows up at their, because my mother, you don't know my mother, but she's 78 years old. She's very Jewish. She's like this female Larry David. That's my mother. Mm-hmm. And so It's her idea. I was telling her this story, and she's like, I want to kill them. I want to buy a gun and kill them. I want to go and kill them. And so in the movie, the little old lady, like Sylvia from the Golden Girls, that's who you should be picturing. And she goes on a murdering spree.
These movies could make it on Netflix. The theatrical releases, listen, the whole metaphor, I heard a rabbi talking about this, why Disney is so successful, because every successful commercial film deals with the family, the symbol of the family. So if you want to skip the heartache of failure, just create movies based on the concept of the family.
But there is something really beautiful, and that's why I have that title, The Protectors, because the metaphor is, look, I mean, I could go on about telling you the details of these people who are harassing me, but suffice to say that all of the people who are harassing me, John, all of them are sympathetic characters in their own right. They're all victims of child abuse and sexual abuse, and they all come from this horrible Indian reservation where everybody's drunk and beating their kids. I mean, this is facts. And they see themselves as like the protectors from the colonists. But this particular Indian reservation only has 660-something residents.
Listen, I got to tell you that I do think that this is gold, but
I think it's a good story. The protectors, they're protecting the land, but my mother's, I've got protectors too, baby.
See, yeah, that's the point is, listen, somebody could rip your idea off, and I don't want to go into details about that, but
right,
let
you're
me
recording this, and Cuckoo is listening.
Yeah, and Cuckoo will steal your idea. Cuckoo will steal your idea.
I told you, it was a good idea.
See, this is my point is, go to the Screen Actors Guild, it's called SAG, and you can file your script idea with SAG for $20. It's not a copyright, but you have it at least filed. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I used to live in LA, and I created a couple concepts, and I filed them with SAG, and I recorded them. I produced them in my apartment. It was just a screen. It was a reading. I was holding readings in my apartment, and all these hot actresses in LA were coming to my apartment and doing readings. And the whole thing is it's really called fake movie, meaning that girls were auditioning for films for a fake movie, but the movie's just called fake movie. So it's like a reframing of the whole audition thing, and that's the whole movie. And yes, I did end up making some beautiful love to some of these beautiful actresses that happened to make it through my door in my casting couch. So this has been the Jewish Clown Academy. Rabboni Shalom. Thanks for sharing that, Zach. That's a great story. The thing is, I would like to talk to you about that further, but let's not do it while we're recording it because...
Well, I've got other fried chicken franchise. I mean, the thing about wine, let me just tell you this thing about wine, which is that you don't have to only make wine. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be giving these ideas away. I should do these ideas, but I just am disorganized.
Zach, listen, dude, I've been an entrepreneur a long time. You don't have to worry about saving your ideas. That's the stupidest concept you could ever hope to never have.
I have monetized my wine. I make wine that people love and they pay me for, but I'm not selling the wine yet. And in order to sell the wine, I would have to make some significant investments. I mean, I have made some significant investments. I have the ability to produce probably 20 gallons of wine a year, or 25. But how many bottles is that? That's actually only like 120 bottles a year.
Yeah.
So 120 bottles a year is not enough to make a business.
Nope.
My friend down the street from me runs a kombucha business, and he has 500-gallon tanks. He's got like 3 500-gallon tanks, so he's making 1,500 gallons. He makes 1,500 gallons every 3 months, right? He's not making it per year. My wine takes a year to age, at least, before it can be sold. But the wine business is country wine. Have you ever heard of that term, country wine?
Yeah, I've known some poor ass Romanians. They make their gypsy wine.
What did they make wine from? What did they use?
They use street grape.
Street grape, right. So that's great. That's one thing, street grape. But I mean, have you ever heard of dandelion wine? Or strawberry wine is a song. Strawberry wine, that country song.
Well, there's a place near me that does ciders, and there's two amazing ones. One's called Strawberry Bella, the other one's called Blueberry something or other. But those are really refreshing because it's not hard. It's not a spirit. It's not a beer. It's a cider. So it's like it's its own category, which to me is refreshing because it's like an alcoholic, sparkling flavored water.
Right. That's a great model too. There was a place here that was it was a cidery. You know what actually happened? There was a place just like that here, but it went under because they got canceled. That's another story, by the way. It's just, movies about cancel culture. There needs to be movies about there's fodder for story in cancel culture.
Listen,
anyway,
I'm just telling you, the media business is where it's at. You're wasting your time with any kind of anytime you got to get out of a chair and you're not sitting in a director's chair and you're doing manual labor, you're so far behind the economic bell curve. Like you will never, ever be able to scale doing manual labor. You have to do things through communication. It's the only way to effectively grow an organization is through digital communication. If you're not really hyper focusing on your communications and you don't realize yet that communications is your only real business, you will not find the success you're looking for. The longer you keep looking for success outside of the communication paradigm, the slower you're going to go. If you want to fly,
do you follow
yeah.
Rewild Maine? Sorry, do you follow Rewild Maine on Instagram?
No, I don't think so. Maybe. I see all your stuff.
You see Zach De La Ruta.
But don't forget, I have 50 phones over here, so it's like, I don't even know which one I'm following.
I see you liking my stuff from different accounts, Chi Podcast or whatever.
Yeah.
And
okay, then that's the one I follow you on.
But Zach De La Ruta, I use Rewild Maine much more. And as far as communicating, I think people keep telling me to stop using Rewild Maine page to communicate. I personally
I told you you should just clone it and create a new one and rebrand and keep it private. And the problem is these trolls, because if you're really building an organization, it's of actual customers and people that you have communicated with. You're having all this outside communication chatter fucking with your psychology. And I just spent 30 minutes listening to your entire drama. And then there's a whole other drama with the brewery. My point is you're creating a business communication and you're taking it all personally. And you should be cloning your business communication. You should have 3 other brands that do the exact same thing. You're not mass spamming it. You're not even coming close. The whole thing is spam. If you can't mass communicate, what can you really do? You have to start trying to work on your communication more is all I'm saying.
All of that makes sense, but when you say private, do you actually mean, keeping the pages private? Because if they're private, then strangers can't stumble upon them.
I get that, but strangers aren't stumbling upon anybody's anything. It's a fact.
Well, strangers are stumbling upon my Rewild Maine page. That's why I want you to check it out on Instagram.
I know, but anyways, I'm just trying to offer thoughts so that you will start spamming more.
I find it all very valuable.
Yeah.
I don't want to be consumed with drama. I want to be confronting and solving problems. And so I think that a lot of the way that we communicate, just like you, I think the communication is at the root of a lot of social problems and physical, tangible, real-world problems. And as far as business, from a Jewish perspective, should be about solving problems. Maybe it's just about making money, but I think the true Jewish way is to meet the needs of society. And if that means being a money lender or a movie maker, I'm passionate about being of service. I want to provide a valuable service somehow.
Well, you can do valuable service through communication intelligence or by spreading information technology. Most people are completely unaware of the concept that all communication is hypnosis. And it's a triggering gaslighting statement. It's something that automatically people reject. But what if it was true? And that's the whole thing, is it's about relativity training. So it is about emotional intelligence training. Basically, I'm saying the psychotherapeutic business or the therapy business is a good business to be in because it provides